Hi everyone, it's Dr. Gege, your pediatrician, pulmonologist, and mom of two. So a year or two ago, I did a video on breastfeeding, and it seemed necessary to do a part two, especially now that I'm a second-time mom and have given this breastfeeding another shot. So my little one is 6 months old now, and I opted to exclusively breastfeed again. So if you saw the other video on breastfeeding, you would know that I only managed to exclusively breastfeed for 4 months. And then when I went back to work, my supply went down, so much so that it resulted in me just having to switch completely to formula. So this time around, I was more intentional about the breastfeeding, and I think I knew a bit more about breastfeeding, including the challenges. So started the journey with the exclusive breastfeeding, and again, for me, latching and nipple things are not an issue for me. So I don't struggle with that part. So we were good already by like day 3 with the breast supply. And we went home and I was breastfeeding happily on demand. And so it was good. I was enjoying it, but remembering issues around supply, I am those people. I don't know if I'm an undersupplier, but I'm definitely not an oversupplier. And so this time around, I was just more conscious to really, really hydrate. And it was just something that you just have to do. So whether it's by drinking tea or water or rehydration solutions, you just do have to stay hydrated for your milk supply to keep being good. But what really determines how much milk you're going to have is how often and how much your baby drinks. And so we didn't have a problem with that because baby boy was a drinker of note. But, or should I say, and fortunately, in the beginning, their tummies are still quite small, so they can't drink a large volume of milk. And I had quite a bit of milk in the time. So I started pumping breast milk for storage, which was an interesting experience this time around because 5 years ago with my daughter, electric breast pumps were not really a thing. So I was still doing manual. But this time around, I had two different types of electric breast pumps and both hands-free. So that was pretty cool. And I can even just tell you about those. So the one is where like the battery and the pump device are actually attached to the pump. There's no cords, no extensions. So there was a single breast pump. And that was quite nice just because there were just less pieces to put together. I find breast pumps quite finicky, like there's all these little parts that you have to attach and the different rubbers. But yeah, once you slot that one in, you can do one boob at a time. And what's nice about it is that you can attach it while the baby is drinking from the other boob. So it's good for time, and it can also catch that let down that happens when the baby's drinking from the other boob. And if you have quite a lot of milk, you will find that it's not often that you're going to switch breasts. So if baby's drinking from one breast, they're going to be full before you even get to put them on the other boob. So it helps with breast discomfort as well to sort of empty out that other boob while baby drinks. So that was the one kind of breast pump. So when the battery and the suction are all attached on one device, the sucking action, the strength of the pump is not that strong. So you'll find that you'll probably need to increase the level to get that good suck going. Versus the other pump that I had that had the attachments for the breast, but the pump itself was actually separate to the devices. So you attached it with these, should I call them plastic pipes? So it was separate. Also hands-free, you don't need to do any hand action, but you can't just be walking around and cleaning because there's this attachment that you kind of need to hold. So I found with that one, I would need to be sitting and relaxed and not carrying the baby, because it would also be on both boobs. And so that you kind of need to like dedicate time for that pump session. But what's nice about it is because the pump device is separate to the breast attachments, it's quite strong. So I only actually had to put it on the lowest level, and it would just go. And because you're doing two boobs at the same time, you actually get quite a bit of milk out, and then you can store those. So I built up quite a bit of reserves in that first month, just because he wasn't actually drinking everything. And yeah, so it was going well, but he was feeding through the night, like probably every 2 hours. And this didn't really actually decrease. And I've heard they say, I don't have the scientific backup for this, but I've just heard that boys drink way more than girls. So something that then when he was starting to sleep more, and then I noticed that I think the supply is starting to decrease a little bit. I'm not pumping as much as I used to in between his feeds. I then just Googled jungle juice. I thought it's something that everybody knows, but apparently not everybody knows what jungle juice is. And it's not a scientifically proven concoction, but it actually does help. And I think the secret behind jungle juice is really that it just gets you to drink liquids and hydrate. So it's a mixture of like either rooibos tea or nursing tea. So you'll have to use pre-boiled water. So it's about like a liter or two of pre-boiled water. And with your rooibos tea bags, and there is rehydrate solution in that, so you're also getting some electrolytes in there, which are good. They help with absorption. And a berry elixir. The berry elixir you can get from any pharmacy, and it's really just it's a supplement essentially. It's got some vitamins and sugar, and it's very sweet. It makes the concoction to taste quite yummy. It's quite pricey, but and then also some ComMed drops. And I think what we don't talk about enough is the fact that to breastfeed successfully, a mom needs to be well fed, yes, well hydrated and rested. You will find that if you've had a rough night with baby, like zero sleep or colic issues, that your breast supply in the morning might not be what it normally is on other mornings, because actually your prolactin is highest at night. And so while you're sleeping is actually the time that your breast milk production is highest. And so I found that if we had a rough night, the milk in the morning is not as much as it is on other nights. And so resting and just being calm and not having stress, apart from baby stress, I suppose, is very important for breast milk supply and production. And I think that's a big reason why when we go back to work or a baby's sick or other things are happening, that the supply actually goes down. And so I think that's maybe the reason for the calmer drops in the jungle juice. So that's what I did. It was yummy. Some days I got lazy to make it, but on those days I just drink lots of rooibos, or there is a nursing tea that has some fenugreek seeds in it, which also helps. But, really there's no science really behind any of these things, but it's just to sort of support the body's development and creation of prolactin to help the body make milk. But to make milk, you need to be well hydrated. You need to be drinking. You need to be eating well. The quality of your breast milk is also dependent on the quality of your diet. So you need to be eating nutritious meals. While you're exclusively breastfeeding is not the time to be trying to snap back. So you can't really be on a calorie restricted diet while you're trying to breastfeed exclusively. You don't need to eat for two. but you need to eat healthy. But I think you probably should be drinking for 2. And then obviously it goes without saying that you should not be drinking alcohol. And whatever medication you drink, you should check if it goes into the breast milk or if it has any adverse effects for baby. And then just know that there'll be good nights and bad nights, or good days and bad days. The nipples can get sensitive, so you will try different nipple creams and see how that works for you. Some people found nipple shields help them, especially for those maybe with latching issues. Again, you can also get assistance and advice from breastfeeding practitioner. And then for me, the only thing this time around also, which was a new experience, was cluster feeding. And so we had nights where we would not sleep. Like every 60 to 90 minutes, this guy is up and he's wanting to be at the boob. And so that happens like during growth spurts, or usually during growth spurts, but that had not been my experience with my daughter. So the cluster feeding phase was a little bit difficult for me, and those are the times where I almost gave up, where I thought, no ways, I can't do this, I need help, we need to bring in the bottle. But because I really, really wanted to keep my supply up, I just pushed on, and you actually get through them. It does get better. This I can tell you. But unfortunately, around 3 to 4 months, we were starting to have other issues with sleep. Baby would just like be niggling every 90 minutes, waking up, and it really, really didn't make sense because he was now getting bigger. He was growing beautifully. And so we consulted, and it was suggested that he might have a cow's milk protein allergy. He was already known to have reflux. And so it was a possibility that the two were working together, and that the dairy that I was ingesting was making him uncomfortable in his tummy. So I had to stop all dairy, which I did. And we tried that, and that helped to some degree, but not entirely. And I then consulted a dietitian who's very, very, very good, and she deals with babies and moms and just troubleshooting all these issues. And there was also a possibility of him having lactose intolerance. So all of that, plus now then at 4.5 months going back to work, I was pumping, my supply was good, but for some reason it still seemed like the little bit of cow's milk that is in my diet, although I had completely swapped out, there are, I guess, hidden elements in certain foods, was still making him uncomfortable. He's quite atopic to cow's milk proteins, and we could see that also in his eczema. So because of all of that, I have now decided to cut down with the plan of stopping actually the breastfeeding. And he's now on a specialized formula that has no cow's milk, and bearing in mind his allergies. But this is all in consultation and working congruently with his ped and a dietitian. But yeah, so that's my journey second time around. But I have enjoyed the breastfeeding this time way more than the previous time, and now I know that it is possible to keep your supply up and increase it. But the trick, really, the main thing, is to breastfeed on demand. And if you have, like, we call them sleepists, like babies who, for some miraculous reason, sleep well, sleep through the night, especially in those first 3 months, because that could also lead to decreased breastfeeding and therefore your supply going down, then you are encouraged to then pump, to actually wake up at night, whether it's at midnight or 2 a.m., and then pump and store so that your supply doesn't go down. And this will help for the baby to continue breastfeeding. So yeah, I hope, again, this is helpful. Breastfeeding is such a big, big topic. We could really, really go on and on about it. I mean, there's people who are oversuppliers, undersuppliers. I really think that some of these things are genetic, And so what's important, again, is to remember that your journey is your own, and you and your baby are a unique pair. Do not compare yourself with anybody. Don't compare yourself with another mom. You guys have different bodies. You respond differently to stress. Your households are different. So what really is best is if your baby is fed. And whether or not that's breast milk or it's formula, whether it's expressed breast milk or it's on the boob, it really doesn't matter. If your baby is fed, your baby is healthy, and you are healthy, that is what is important. And to have a happy baby, mom needs to be happy. And if mom needs to be happy, mom needs to sleep at night. And if for mom to sleep at night, somebody else needs to give baby a bottle, whether it's a bottle of formula or a bottle of express breast milk, then that's what it's got to be. Healthy mom, healthy baby, happy baby. Okay. Thanks, guys. Please don't forget to subscribe and comment, or ask any questions. You can post them below and I will respond. Thank you.